Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John, and I have a new album review. It's by the band Cheap Trick, and the album is called In Another World. So before I begin, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more, and I upload about one video per day. So I'm going to be honest with you. When I grew up, I listened to many classic rock bands such as The Doors, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, to name a few. Those are bands I know very well. I know most of the songs. I know pretty much all the albums. But this is a band that I never really bought anything from when I was younger. I only know the big hits, such as I Want You to Want Me and The Flame. I probably first heard of the band from Mike Damone in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, talking about the Dream Police. I thought that was a pretty cool scene. Other than that, I really do not know this band that much, so I'm going into this review almost like a newcomer to the band, and I think it will be interesting just to talk about my first impression, and for that reason, I'm going to do a track-by-track analysis of this particular album. It's not something I always do in my reviews, but I think for this album, I think it would be fitting. The album has 13 tracks and a runtime of about 45 minutes. The first song is called The Summer Looks Good on You. And the song starts out, has some vocal harmonies, a pretty cool bluesy guitar riff. It's very uplifting, has a very feel-good vibe. And the song does have some guitar shredding in the solo. The next song is called Quit Waking Me Up, and this is another very happy song. It reminds me a little of the Beatles. It just has that pop rock vibe to it. The guitar solo is pretty cool. It reminds me of a little of AC/DC. And for some reason I can picture this song being used in a romantic comedy or something like that. It just has that type of sound to it. The third song is called Another World. So they slow it down on this a bit. It starts off with a drum intro and it moves at a nice pace. This is a straightforward pop rock song, and for some reason reminds me a little of the band Oasis, but I like it. It's a pretty good song. The guitar solo in this has a 90s alternative rock vibe to it, so I thought that was cool. The next song is called Boys and Girls in Rock and Roll, and as the name suggests, it's more of an upbeat rock and roll song. It does have a little of a 90s alternative grunge rock feel to it. Maybe I got that from the guitar riff, but it's a good song and I like it a lot. The next song is called The Party. And it's called The Party, and that's kind of the vibe it gives off. It's just very upbeat. It has a funk rock vibe to it. The vocals are really good. There's some background vocals, and you hear a lot of feedback during the guitar solo. I thought that was pretty cool. And again, this gives you another 90s alternative rock feel. The next song is called Final Days. They slow it down a little bit on this one. It's just straightforward blues rock. During the chorus, Robin Zander sings in more of an upper register. This one sounded pretty good. I really like the guitar effects on the guitar solo, and there's some harmonic on this one. I think it adds a lot of variety, even though it is kind of brief. And the harmonica actually reminds you a little of When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin. The next song is called So It Goes. It is an acoustic ballad. It's very melodic. I really like the acoustic guitar playing on this one. And this is another one. It reminds me of the Beatles, or maybe even something from John Lennon's solo career. And it's really in place because they do a John Lennon cover later on. Track number 8 is called Light Up the Fire, and this was the first single they released. I even did a video on this and listened to it along with the rest of the album. It kind of seems a little out of place. It's just a lot more heavier, I guess that would be the word to call it. But it's not a bad song. I like it. I like it a lot. It has this punk rock vibe. It reminds me a little of Stone Temple Pilots or another 90s grunge band. But it is a good song, and I will link my original video review of that song to the end of this video. Track number 9 is called Passing Through. So this one, they slow it down a little bit. It's a little more atmospheric. Now you hear the bass very clearly on this one, so I like that part of it. It is a good song, and it does give me that 90s alternative rock vibe again. After that, the song was called Here's Looking at You, and this is a very rocking song. It's very upbeat, a little bit of like a punk rock vibe. There's a lot of energy to it, and just one of those songs that just kind of like lifts you up, and it like pumps you up a little bit. The guitar solo, again, it reminds you a little bit of AC/DC. I really like that part of it. And this song was co-written by Linda Perry. You probably all know who she is. She actually co-writes many songs by many artists. The next song was called Another World Reprise. And as the name suggests, it is a continuation of the Another World song. But they pick up the pace on this one. It's a little more of like a rock song, kind of like a punk rock feel. And the lyrics are very uplifting. Toward the end, they have some like vocal harmonies. I thought that was cool, and also has some like Beatles vibe to it. Track number 12 is called I'll See You Again. On this song, they slow it down a lot. It's an acoustic ballad. I really like the acoustic strumming of this song. There's some orchestral elements, and again, it reminds me of the Beatles. And the last song on the album is called Give Me Some Truth. It is a John Lennon cover song. It's a protest song, originally released on his 1971 album Imagine. It was about protesting the Vietnam War. Cheap Trick does update it a little bit. It gives it a little more of a modern sound. The John Lennon does really fit on this album as a cover song just because of the basic sound of this album. So I think it was very appropriate. And in conclusion, I really like the album. It's 45 minutes long, perfect length. And it's also very guitar oriented. You hear the guitars very clearly. I mean, there are a lot of other instruments, mixed a lot lower. I'm very interested in learning to play some of these songs on the guitar. I think Rick Nielsen is a unique player. Like I said throughout the video, it does have a mixture of some like Beatles influences and some 90s alternative influences. Those are two musical styles that I like. I think this would be probably one of my favorite non-heavy metal albums of the year. I think this, along with the Pretty Reckless album, would be my two favorite rock albums so far. With that being said, I give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot, and it gets better every time I listen to it. So that is it. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments section. Coming up next, I will be doing Sweet Oblivion, which features Jeff Tate from Queensryche. On Tuesday, I have the final result of my Metal March Madness. I will probably do a heavy metal review of Lion's Daughter, and I will be incorporating some more vinyl videos. Since I just got my new player, you can see it like right behind me there. I ordered a record off of Amazon, so I will talk about that maybe tomorrow in a short video. If you want to see my original review of Light Up the Fire, I will link it right there. And I will also link a review from my friend Gary from Physical Format. I will link it over here. Gary knows a lot more than I do about the band. He is a longtime fan. So you might want to check out his video as well, just to see what he thought of it. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.